One of the questions I was asked was how to do a retrieve for flounder. Now, in my eyes, there's two different ways that I use. If I know that I'm targeting flounder and I'm not fishing really for anything else because I know I'm in a good flounder area, then it's going to be more of a slow kind of drag, bounce it, slow drag and bounce it, slow drag, bounce it, and then I just reel up my slack and then just do it again, kind of bounce it while I drag it, just drag it, reel up the slack, and that's how I'll fish if I know I'm in a flounder area and that's what I'm targeting. Now, if there's a lot of rocks or oyster in the area, instead of dragging it, because you're probably going to get snagged up on everything, you can bounce it up. Just kind of, and just bounce it like you're trying to get yourself, like if you got hung up already and you're trying to get it loose, just kind of bounce it like that, and then just reel up your slack, and that sometimes will help you kind of bounce over the oysters or the rocks or whatever you might be around. So that's two different retrievals. And then the third retrieval is just a normal retrieve that I use for reds, flounder, trout, everything is just gonna be the pop and then reel up the slack, pop. But I usually use this, and this is just a regular retrieve that I use, just kind of keeping it close to the bottom. And you can get flounder bites on that also. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about is setting the hook. Now, the types of ways that you retrieve it is going to depend on how you set the hook. If you're doing just the regular know you're in a flounder area retrieval where you're just dragging it, you will feel most of the time that's not really going to be an aggressive bite. So whenever you're dragging it and you feel like you hit an oyster or something and you feel the thump, give it a second and you'll see your rod tip start to either bend, or you'll kind of feel something nibbling on your jig head. You'll feel it if you hold on to your line. I usually hold on to my line with my finger, and you'll feel them moving around in their mouth. Now when you feel that kind of a thump, you always want to give them, I usually do about 10 seconds. Everybody says count down from 30. I feel like that's way too long, because by the time you count down that far, if they've swallowed it and it's a small flounder, it's gonna die, because you're gonna probably have to cut your hook off. But I count down from 10, and that's usually a good number. If I know that I'm fishing for flounder, you give them 10 seconds, kind of give them a pull, and just kind of see if I actually got a bite right there. Just kind of give them a nice oyster, but it felt like a bite. But just give them a little bit of time and kind of pull on your pole and see if you got a little bit of weight on there. And the way I like to check and see if it's a actual flounder or not is when you pull on it, it'll feel like it's moving with you, but you'll feel the weight. Now just count down from 10 and just set the hook on them, and you should be good to go. Oh, looky there, we got one. That's perfect timing right there. And that, friends, is how you catch a flounder when you're in a flounder area. Let's check this guy out. That's a decent size one. Be a good little snack for later. 15 and a quarter. Yeah, 15 and a quarter. So there you have it. I kept feeling thumps. I thought it was oyster, and he ended up taking it. So there you go. That's how you do the retrievals for flounder. Now, if you're retrieving it like normal for a trout or a red, that's gonna increase your aggressive strike. So whenever you're retrieving them like that, as soon as they hit it, you're not gonna know what it's gonna be. So just go ahead and set the hook, because they're aggressively feeding on that. So they're gonna automatically take it right in. They're not gonna sit there and nibble on it. But whenever you're reeling it in slow or dragging it, they're gonna kind of mouth it and see what it is before they completely take it in. And they have hard mouths. I don't know if you've ever actually, they have some really bony mouths, and it's hard until you know for a fact you've got them right in this area. Like, all this is bone, real hard bony mouths. So you want to get it in that, make sure that you're in that soft spot before you set the hook. So that's why you want to wait about 10 seconds, so you know for a fact they have them in their mouth real good. Anyways, there we go. That's the result when you know you're in a flounder area, fishing it real slow. Give them a second, set that hook. Love that thump.